got one question for you. Are you ready?
Hey, everybody. What is going on? We are back yet again with an amazing guest. David, how is it going, buddy?
What's up, David?
Hey, guys. What's going on, guys? Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This seems like a neat little program over here you guys got going on. Some tasty licks, some tasty conversations. You know,
right.
Why not?
Yeah,
exactly. This is great.
Yeah, we have a good time, and of course, you know Nicole. I guess you've known Nicole for a bit here, so
I've known her for a few years.
Yeah, she's a pretty cool.
Awesome.
I would have to be I'm biased, so yeah, she's a pretty cool girl. But
she's pretty cool.
She's pretty okay. She's pretty okay. Not when she was 6 though. She was not okay. Right. 6.
So is she little sister? I don't know. She's your little sister or older sister?
She is my little sister. Yeah, she's 6 years
little
younger.
Sis.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Baby sis.
She's baby sis, but if you ask her, she'll tell you that she always says that I am the youngest, so
okay.
She always has to give me the advice.
Just agree with her. Just say yes.
That's right. Well, that's exactly what makes your life work, right? Yeah, exactly.
But that's like all women, baseline. Always say yes.
Right. So we have to start.
Always.
Yes.
Don't ever say no to a woman. Just say yes. Doesn't matter what the question is. Go yeah.
Even when they say, "Hey, you can say no. It's fine." No.
Yeah.
It's a trick. It's a trap.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
No, I've been there plenty of times.
Yeah. I know. Cool, man. Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. And so David, we're so excited. We've been listening to, what has been almost 25 years of music. We have been listening to in the last 2 weeks or week. And just absolutely, blown away by your music. And my son plays bass, and I started off playing bass in life. So I really listen to bass lines when I know that I have a bassist coming on.
Boy.
And yours are strong. Usually
Thanks,
you're like,
dude.
yeah, it's not underneath everything. So we'll talk about that. But first we're going to talk about our favorite desserts.
Let's do it.
So first of all, did David bring a dessert today?
Oh shit! Was I supposed to? What do I got? I got some jam. I got, but it's like really like fancy jam. I got some honey. I could like put that together on an orange. It'll be like a healthy.
There you go.
Does that work?
Yes, it does. I have brought a banana once.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
Does tequila count? Because I could
tequila. Yep, that's a dessert right there.
I could pour myself some tequila right now because it's 6 o'clock in LA.
That's right.
And I just sat through 1 hour of traffic, literally rushing to get to the studio.
So
we could do this right. I was sitting in
in
traffic. I actually went into that little space and I was like, guys, are you here? Is anyone here? Anybody? And so
I think it's one thing I don't miss about California. I'm originally from California myself, around LA and Garden Grove area. So I definitely don't miss the traffic.
Yeah, the traffic is brutal. I just literally walked in right now, and Nicole had texted me, "Hey, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was waiting, but I need to use the restroom." So I use the restroom, but I could have tequila while we can call it dessert, if that's okay. I'll do that. Or not? No. All right.
I'm going to say tequila. Here's what I'm going to say: is what kind of tequila are we talking about? Whether that is
it's like Blanco, like some nothing that fancy. I like some good añejos, but from what I see from over here, I'm looking over at my little shelf over there. I think there's only some Blanco left up there, but it's okay. All right, what do you guys have? Let's talk about.
That's what we're
guys.
gonna go. So
yeah.
I have brought fudge, homemade fudge.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
I don't know if we're gonna have the chef beat me. So the reason, so chef has beaten me every time, but and usually the guest, tequila is hard to beat, honestly. So so we're gonna go tequila versus what does chef have?
Some s'mores brownies.
S'mores brownies. What?
That's pretty good.
It's still kind of hot, so I couldn't cut it yet.
Shit.
But
fresh s'mores brownies. That sounds really good, actually, man.
Pretty layered. Chocolate graham cracker and toasted marshmallow up top.
All right, so recipe real quick. So it's toasted marshmallow. How did you go through the process to make this lovely
brownie wise? Recipe wise, it's just eggs, butter, flour, cocoa powder, I put vanilla, fresh vanilla in there, like vanilla bean, and
and something that made it go on.
Just mix it all up with butter and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
25 minutes later.
Oh, man, I tell you.
It's great.
That's amazing. So we're going to ask you a couple food questions because I'm a hospitality major, and he is a professional chef. And we always like to know what it is like to live on the road. And so what is your go-to food on the road? If you were to say, this is what I do.
Right.
Actually, on the road, this is the food I have to have. And then right before you do a gig, what food do you eat?
Okay. It's not going to be very exciting. I'm going to tell you right now. It's not going to be any kind of guilty pleasures. I eat like chicken breast, literally, because it's just so easy. And you could be at random truck stop. You could be at a Foster's. You could be at a Circle. You know what I mean? On the road, right. You're at the most. Who knows where you're going to be? You could be 1 minute you're at the most fanciest restaurants. 4 hours later, you're at a truck stop in the middle of nowhere. And honestly, my go-tos are like chicken breast by itself. And I'll order hey, can I just get the chicken breast by itself? And sometimes a place will be like, no way. I'm like, fine, give me the same. I guess I'm like, but I don't want to waste the bread because I don't. And I'll just literally get chicken breast, some mustard. If they have honey, I'll whip it up as a honey mustard really quickly. Dip that, boom, 2 chicken breasts. I'm good to go. Protein.
Two chicken breasts. That is, you know what? What do you think of the carnivore? It says kind of the carnivore diet. Is that so? It makes you feel. Cause that's where we've been trying to convince one of my kids who's trying to lose weight that the carnivore diet is actually really good. And it sounds like exactly what you're talking about. The carnivore diet, just chicken breast, and especially you can get it anywhere. That's another
anywhere.
thing.
That's the thing. Almost everywhere. Any kind of food establishment, doesn't matter if it's fast food or something, they usually have some sort of a chicken breast sandwich. I mean, they'll usually have a burger too or something, but I just go, give me the chicken by itself. They're like, it's the same price. I'm like, that's fine. I just want the chicken, They're like, we're not going to give you a discount. I'm like, I don't care. Just give me a chicken.
Okay. You didn't ask for a discount. You just said the chicken. Give me the chicken.
I'm like, I'm going to waste everything else. Keep it. It's fine. Just give me the damn chicken.
Charge me whatever you want.
Yeah.
Give me the chicken.
I need to call my manager on this one. I'm like, you don't need to call your manager. Just put in a sandwich, but don't give me a sandwich. Give me the chicken only. I'm like, you see that? He has the chicken over there. I see him back there. He's gonna put it on the grill. I see it. Once he takes it off the grill, don't put it on the bread. Put it in a box. They're like, so you don't want a sandwich? No, I don't want to say. I just want the chicken breast. Can I not? Anyway, and then my band guys or whoever I've ever traveled with always goes, "You're being an asshole, Dave." I'm like, it looks like
you're not being. You're just wanting.
I want less things. I'm not adding more things. I just want less. I'm like, what comes in the sandwich? They're like, tomato, lettuce. I'm like, I don't want those things. You keep those things. That
Most
chicken breast.
most people get mad like at other people for ordering crazy stuff. You're just wanting
less. So that would be stuff like that, and I don't know. It's become very. I'm more. Food is just sustenance to a degree at times, especially when you're traveling. Just sustenance, man. That's and you want something somewhat healthy and go.
And you've been doing it a long while. I mean, we've read your bio, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, honestly,
thanks,
when you talk to folks and you're like, "Hey, I want to be part of a successful rock band," and you've been part of 3 or 4 different successful rock bands. I would say 4. I'd say 4. Okay. and then you kind of have. Well, we're going to give Mount Helium and Apex kind of the same exact because they're both. They just changed their name.
Right,
but we're going to go 4 really successful rock bands, and and he knows that he's got to get chicken. That's what he knows. Everybody else
some
now
sort
knows
of protein.
That's
protein.
right.
That's
got to have it for the road.
I haven't been eating actual bread in years. I just don't. I can't eat like anything super carby, or I don't know if I'm gluten. I don't know. I don't go around going I'm gluten intolerant. I have no idea. I just know that when I eat any kind of bread from outside, like I actually have some friends that make breads, and they'll do these breads where it's like 4 to 5 ingredients. You eat that bread, you feel okay. You kind of feel okay. Anything that's like mass produced, like from the store or any from a restaurant, if I eat that, I'm out. Like,
and I've made bread like that where it was literally just only like 4 or 5 ingredients, and I mean I know you don't have the preservatives and fillers and stuff like that in there to kind of preserve it longer, but it really does. Like the other stuff has a great effect on you when you don't have like actually just regular bread, like just simple. It's a lot better.
Yeah, it is. So. All right, got that out of the way.
We got that out of the way. So now we're going to be moving on to. So I'm going to be honest with you. So my son plays bass, and I think and he's gotten me more back into the whole listening to bass, and he plays stand up in orchestra.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
so he's
bravo.
It's
so
exactly.
good. Yeah,
it is really good, and that's why I told him. He's like, "Hey, Dad, can you go get me a just a regular bass?" And I'm like, "What's a guitar bass?" So I said, let me. I said I don't mind getting you a guitar bass because I went and checked, what a good bass would be, and then I was like, but the thing is that I can tell you that so many bassists tell me that you should stay in orchestra. Because they said the theory that you're getting out of orchestra will help you increase what you're doing with your bass and your guitar bass, and will make you a more proficient player. And so when I hear your bass, it's crazy. And this is when we read about your bass, what your music is like. And I'm going to say that you have, what is it, bass and drum? Is that the verb that I read, that it was bass and drums in your bass?
Singer, right? You're saying too.
What do you mean, like stylistically speaking?
Stylistically, yeah. Somebody was saying that you had it's like almost like drum beats in it or something.
Yeah, like well, I mean, I've always been a fan of drum and bass, and I think it's that's a very rhythmic kind of approach, but it almost has like kind of a like one time this one producer we were working with, he was like, "You do realize you're actually a cellist who plays bass, right?" And I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "You play your bass like a cello." He's like, "All the lines you're doing." He's like, "Yeah, you're giving me the the rhythmic, whatever pulse of the song." He's like, "But within it, as you're hitting different notes," he's like, "That's like a cello line." I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Great, cool," So, yeah, I mean, that's I've been told that it's just it's like a more melodic approach to bass playing at times, where it's not just dum 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 dum, which is great too. That keeping it.
You hear that. You hear like the melodic and the parts. In the song.
Where there's actual there's movement in the bass, but it's still like locking in with the drums and giving that kick drum that big downbeat and all that kind of stuff. And some of that stuff, it's really just instinct that something feels fun and you do it, and It's like that's the best. That's always the best stuff when it's just instinctual. I'm sure even with cooking, when you have that instinct for doing, I want to put this ingredients. All of a sudden, you start making. Oh man, it's like putting that love into it. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but yeah, I know. Does that answer questions? I just went off.
No, that's really good. No, we want you to. Yeah, there is no wrong answers. We're interviewing you because we want to hear more about your music. The other thing that I read, and this is, I wanted to get some of what got you into music in the first place, and I've read that you're Armenian-American, and so wanted to hear more about that background and maybe what kind of got you into music. And then I know that you're really good friends with a few really big bands themselves as well. So I'm just really excited to hear more about some of those relationships you've built and things like that.
Well, especially with working with John DeMine and Serge, right?
Yeah. I mean, all those guys were. Yeah, I'm gonna see him at the end of the week. Actually, Friday night they're playing LA, so that should be pretty cool. Yeah. I actually talked to Serge last week. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Armenian-American thing. I was born in Armenia, raised over here. I don't know. I mean, music was in the house. It's always been in the house. And I mean, I'm sure that's the same with you guys. Like there's always, I don't know, for me, my grandfather would sit around playing mandolin all day. I would hear that. He was a professional violinist, but, the mandolin was like that little fun thing. He would play songs for the grandkids and this and that. And I'd pick up on these nice little cool melodies that I would never hear on the rock radio as a kid, because I moved here when I was like 3 or 4 years old, pretty much with my family. My family immigrated. And, some of the first things were like, the MTVs, that's, 1982 or 81, whenever MTV launched. It was a huge culture shock and all that good stuff. But it's like you would see that, and then you would hear Grandpa playing these little things and all the Armenian ethnic music, and it was so different. And it would like fuck with your head a little bit, but you would find something beautiful in each, and I think, usually when it comes to why someone goes into music, most of the times it's almost unexplainable. It's just like you're obsessed with it, you don't know why. My parents told me I was like maybe like 3 years old, 4 years old, and I would drag this Armenian traditional drum called a dahol to the neighbor's house, and their son, who was like maybe 2 years older than me, had a dahol as well, and it's this like thing you put underneath your arm. It's like this and we would just sit there banging it out at 3 or 4 years old. So it's instinctive. Yeah, it's like this very instinctive thing. And I mean, I think scientifically, there's these researches done that basically almost all of us are born with perfect pitch. Like all babies have basically like perfect musical instinct, but it's just what you kind of, are more attracted to, or what more compels you. And, some people are compelled by this and that. And like, yeah, most music people, I mean, I'm involved in sound design as well. I did sound design work for all kinds of different, like, TV and commercial, whatever. It does something for you. You understand it, you picture it, you know what I mean? And you just kind of allow that to take you where it's going to take you. But funny enough, like me personally, although as much as I love music, illustrating was like my first real like passion for the arts. Like that's up until I was 11, 12 years old. I was like a little illustrator nerd kid doing, from comics to elaborate. Like I used to sit around and copy all the Metallica. What's the guy's name? Pusshead. Do you guys know who Pusshead is? He was the original artist. I think this is like, we're talking like 30 plus years ago, but he's the guy that used to do all the skulls and all the crazy Metallica stuff in the 80s when Metallica was Metallica. And they're like this cool, amazing band. And I would literally just, all my notebooks had these elaborate drawings of Pusshead, things that I would do myself. And kids would be like, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. I'm like, I did. I actually sat here for the last 5 days, like doing that. And, but yeah. And then funny enough, listening to like the Metallica albums in the 8th grade and going, oh my God, like this is amazing. And just grabbing a guitar. I played piano too as a kid, like, so always been kind of somehow.
What was your first Metallica album, Master or Justice for All? Or Right Away?
It was a mixtape. that my buddy Rafi at an Armenian private school snuck in and gave to me because you couldn't do that. This is a Christian Armenian private school. He gave me a mixtape.
Smuggle
What
it
is that?
in.
What is that?
Smuggle it in.
What?
So you had to smuggle it in.
Oh yeah, smuggle it in. Yeah, I mean, if they found out on his person, he'd probably get kicked out. I mean, this is, that's like Antichrist stuff going on there. But it was a mixtape that his brother made, and I think I want to say is like mostly Master of Puppets on there with some Ride the Lightning songs. This is 88, 87, something like this, and just completely like taken over by like just smitten by this music. Like, what the fuck is this? Like I got, with little like Walkman things on all day going. Master, oh my God, just a dumb little 13-year-old losing his shit over it. Yeah, so, but it's pure, you know what I mean? Like that's what it is. So.
Yeah.
I love it though. I mean, that's the way. So you're from the same time era that I am. I'm maybe a little bit older, but just a little bit. But I'll tell you, that's what got me into metal was Metallica, AC/DC. Of course, AC/DC, Judas Priest, Motley Crue, those 80s, some of those 80s rockin' bands. Now, what kind of said, hey, I'm going to play bass of all things? Like bass is one of those, like some people gravitate towards bass is kind of one of those ones where you're like, that's a different instrument to pick up and say, I'm going to play this.
When I would listen to music, I would hear those grooves in there, right? And I wouldn't go, oh my God, what's Ace Frehley doing? I would say, what the hell is that other guy doing? That Gene Simmons, or what is Brothers Johnson, let's say, or like I got really into funk bass for a second, just not even knowing it. I played guitar as well. I played guitar for about maybe 4 to 6 months, and not to sound like a total asshole, but I taught myself how to play Mozart's 40th Symphony. And I was like, all right, this is like, okay, I'm bored. Like, that's pretty cool. Although obviously, you're a dumb kid. Like, I have so much more to learn on it. But in that moment, I was like, okay, so this is what the guitar could do. But what is that? I was like, what is that? That is, and I'll tune my bass, my guitar down and try to do things like that. This is a funny story. I would call who was the original drummer for System of a Down, guy named Andy Kachadurian, who later became the lead singer of Apex Theory. I would call him because we were schoolmates. We met in the 7th grade, and I would like tell him, "Hey, dude, I got a bass," and I'd play the guitar all tuned low. He was like, "Dude, you got a bass? Fuck yeah, we're gonna start a band." I'm like, it's actually not a bass, but soon. Soon you're gonna get it. Just you just gravitate towards it. I don't even know what it's like what is that other thing that? How come every time the kick drum hits, there's this note behind it and it sounds cool? Like, and I listen to a lot of rap music too growing up. So, and there's a lot of great bass lines in that. So,
very much so.
Yeah. I think, Public Enemy, NWA, all that 90s kind of really, OG kind of rap. Like, so.
I remember that. I remember that well. That was my that was our time growing up. Yeah. I think Chef, you're right there, almost close there in music and growing up to that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost 50, so.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
I turned.
I'm not at my door yet. I'm 39.
He's like, I'm 39. Leave me alone. I'm not even 40 yet. Hey, you know what? That's one thing about the American culture that I think we have to kind of like look at from a different perspective is, obviously youth is a great thing and being young and healthy is everything, but you could also be, older and healthier, especially nowadays with everything that's going on. And also, I come from like a culture that basically, the older you are, the more like respect you have, no matter what. And like in this country, it's
Right.
like, oh, you're over 50, you're fucking dead. Get out of here. No one knows. No one cares what you have to say. No one. Yeah, gone. Like,
I was
oh.
called an old head by by one of my kids the other day. You're an old head. What do you know? And I'm just like, an old
Okay.
head.
I mean, that's part of their job too, to call you that. I get that, You're an old head. You don't get it. And
Right.
of course, there's truth to that, where, you could be, we all could be stuck in our ways to a degree. I think it's being aware of it, and I don't know.
No, absolutely right.
That's
So
all I got to
what
say
a-
about that.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So this is one thing that was in. So I know that you're friends with, and System of a Down is very political. I was just going
Sure.
to say that. Do you feel like that's something that you expressed in your music as well, or is that kind of something that you've kind of stayed out of your music and you're just purely going off your passion? What kind of gets you going for your music? Is it there is some political stuff that gets you going, and I'm going to write some songs about how I feel, or is it more coming from the heart, from different places? Some people write it about love. What is it? Where's it coming
Right.
for you?
I mean, if I look at like the catalog of music of whatever I've worked on through the years, it's kind of a wide spectrum. The one thing that I think, if there's any through line, is some sort of like forward movement in life. There's always that, be it if it has to do with lost love, be it has to do with some sort of social commentary, situation, or some goofy song about really nothing. There's still this kind of like, let's push forward. What's next in life? That's part of my mentality. That's kind of what keeps me young, so to speak. Like,
Right.
like a certain curiosity about what's next. So it's like, if you're bitching about what's happening now, well, tell me, what do you think is going to be better, and what's going to be next? So I kind of have that mentality in some of the songs, and most of it is always, just stuff that just is inspired without really trying too hard. Like, you have a little melody in your head, and then something happens that day, and you go, fuck that motherfucker, and somehow that fuck that motherfucker is the same rhythm of that melody in your head, and then you change fuck that motherfucker to 3 other different syllables, and it's like, hey, I think that could be a chorus for something. That's kind of cool. You start working on it, and it's like, okay, cool, like that's something. I don't think, like, let's say with the new band and 10 at the end, with the single that we released, Animal, it's not really political, but it has like certain commentary about culture and like our social construct. I mean, the lyric in the chorus is 333 sides to every animal: the wrong, the good, the truth, what's arguable. That's just more about perspective, human perspective, how we look at things, that weird moral compass that everyone has. So yeah, it's not really like political, but like, with System, Serge has been a political guy since I've known Serge since I was 15. I met him. I played in one of my first bands with him when he was 23. I was 15 years old, and all this guy would fucking talk about was the Armenian genocide at age 23 and finding recognition for it. And
Wow.
I'm a kid who was born in Armenia, and I was almost like, this guy's too much. Like, okay, we get it, but that's really that's been his flag, and there's no bullshit about it. It wasn't like, I'm gonna start a band and I need something to talk about. It's like, dude was on top of that for so long. Like, that's been his thing.
He just put a lot of what he was thinking, like, on paper. You know what I'm saying? So kind of getting all that stuff out of his mind.
Yeah, and it made their music very strong. It made their the stage presence strong, because it was they believed in every one of those things that Serge was screaming about, basically. So that's what makes great rock music, right? It's like, you got to believe in what you're fucking doing. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was going. So you already read my script of the political, because so this is Antenna the End is your new music group, and I listened to it. You have about 5 or 6 songs out there now on Spotify and music.
There's 4 songs in total. There's maybe there's 3 demos that I was like, fuck it, we're gonna release it. I released that years ago.
Okay.
Like, yeah, that's a song called Of Our Lives, a song called Muffin Scarf, a
Yep.
song called Mad World, and then Animal is the thing that we're like finally we released, and we're kind of rallying around that, and then I'm working on a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, you know, so
I really enjoy. I actually enjoyed all 4 of them. I thought I heard a second version of Animal, and that's the reason why I was like 5. I don't know whether you're going to consider that other version, the one that I also heard. So I was going on SoundCloud and trying to pick.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really think that was really awesome was the fact that I could distinctly hear your bass. Now, are you actually doing the studio work, the studio engineering work?
I produce everything. But no, I have other guys who mix it. Like actually, Animal was mixed by a guy named Nick Menza, who just did the Animals as Leaders record. I don't know if you're familiar with that band. Really fucking cool, like heavy gent muso band. A guy named Tosin Abasi is the guitar player, kind of band leader. But not all of it. No, I mean even those 3 songs, my buddy Squirrel, Craig Tyler mixed them, but I'm very much hands-on in the production of it. But also you got to remember, like the songs, not some of them, like most of them are written from, it's like bass and vocal. That's where like the seed is of the song. So the bass always plays a big role. I'm never going like, we got to push the bass up all the way. I'm not doing that. It's just like, that's kind of like, well, that's the vibe of the song, like, you know, and it carries the song to a degree. So why bury it? You know what I mean? So.
Right.
But yeah, I am involved in the production and stuff. I mean, here, like, I don't know if you guys do these things. Can I turn the camera around or no?
Yeah, you can turn the camera around if you. Yeah.
How do you turn the camera around?
Oh, you would have to turn the camera around. Yeah, there's no like.
Oh, okay. So like this is, I don't know if you can see. This is, I'm sitting in front of this guy right here. This is a 1984 Soundtracks analog board from the UK, and this is my little studio space that I work out of. You know,
nice.
So yeah, I don't know if you could see what's going on here, but anyway, cool. Yeah. So I'm very much, you know, kind of in my world. I mean, I produce other artists. I work with other people too. So, you know, but no, I get other people to help with the mixes sometimes. It's because it gets too close. You're too, you know, that Animal song. At one point, I had 49 different mixes that I did.
Oh wow!
Talk about like cooking it till it's fucking dead. It was terrible. It was terrible.
It's really good, and I like the video. I like the video to it. Actually, I really like the video to it. Yeah, I thought that was cool. James, I know that I've been talking most of the time, so let's hear some questions from you, buddy.
No, yeah, like you said, I've really enjoyed it. And, just a lot of the Armenian sound and stuff like that is what I really like about. Because I even went all the way when I knew when you were having you on, I went all the way back to our Apex Theory and was listening to that. I kind of just familiarized myself with your sound, and then kind of going into the new stuff as well. And yeah, I definitely been a fan of it. But aside from like music wise, if you weren't maybe into like music, what would you see yourself doing? Like if you were, if music wasn't even a thing.
I think, I mean, in one form or another, I'd probably be involved in something creative. And maybe entrepreneurial. I don't know. I'm just being real with you, because that's just part of like the quote unquote Armenian upbringing. You know, your folks are always pushing you like, go do something, go create something. You know, like make a few dollars and put it into something, like do something, and you're like, I gotta do something. You know, I probably, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I have other things I do other than just band world. You know, I write music cues. I've done that. I have a company called Mute Unmute. So, you know, I'd probably do that. Lately, this last 2 years, I've been getting really into infrared saunaing. Like I infrared sauna almost every other day, which I don't know if is the best thing, but I love it. I thought about maybe opening up an infrared sauna studio.
Huh. What is the infrared sauna?
So basically, you know, there's like the regular like electric sauna, or there's I guess the coal saunas, which is the old school. Yeah. This is using infrared light, and it's a deeper heat.
Oh.
And I discovered it. I cracked my shoulder. I dislocated my shoulder. I cracked it, and I went to the orthopedic, and they said unless you get shoulder surgery, you'll never be able to move your arm. My arm was like this, and I could hardly play bass, and it was just like, so I couldn't move it at all, and it was stuck like that for 4 months. I had to hire people to play parts for me on things I was working on. And luckily I have great fucking community of people. I'm so fucking fortunate, and like they came in and they would help me, and I would, hey man, what do you need for the day? I need you to play these parts, whatever. And long story short, this ortho was like, yeah, you need a surgery. There's no way. And literally my arm was stuck, like going on 6 months like this, like I can't move it, So yeah, relative was like, you should put infrared light on it and do these like very light exercises every day where you're kind of like walking up the wall with your fingers, right? So I was like, infrared light, like where do I get this? How expensive is it? And I'm thinking, fuck, I gotta spend like $500. I gotta go online and find some sort of a machine or something. And he's like, dude, you go to Home Depot, you spend $10 on a fucking a lamp, 250-watt lamp, and then you get a bulb, an infrared bulb, and that's another $15 or 10, whatever. It's like $25. That's all you need. Get that. Do it every day for 30 minutes. I kid you not, guys. Like within maybe a month and a half, all of a sudden my arm opened up to this. Like I could get it up to here. I was like, oh my God. And then it started open. Like I have full movement in my shoulder now. Like full. I couldn't do that.
Wow.
Yeah. Without actual cutting my shoulder. So I was like, what is this magic infrared light?
I've never heard of that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So this last, during this whole COVID madness, obviously we're trying to figure out ways to be healthy and this and that. And I stopped working out. I couldn't hit the gym. Gyms are closed, this and that. And the other thing, I was like, what else can I do? What else can I do? Sorry, I'm going to random messages. And a friend of mine told me about, there's an infrared sauna place in LA and Hollywood. This is how it is. It's like an infrared sauna with whatever. I was like, I'll go try it. Fuck it. And I went, and it was just, it's amazing. You sit in there for about 30 to 45 minutes. Then you take an extremely cold shower instantly. And it's like, it fucks with you for a second, but it boosts your immune system. It's good for inflammation. And, trying to get rid of inflammation is one of the biggest things you could do for health. Clears my mind. So, yeah, there's some other things.
There's any of that around here. Like, serious.
I mean, you guys are in Phoenix, right?
I am.
I'm in Florida.
I am.
Oh, you're in Florida. Okay. I was going to say, if you're in Phoenix, you could just walk outside during the summer and you're basically in a sauna.
There you go, Andy. It's free.
Yes, it's every day. It's every day.
109 degrees.
You've been here.
You didn't even know you were getting it already.
So you're playing here in March too. So it's that one of those iffy times. That's one of those iffy times where it's like it could be really hot or it could be really nice. You never know.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll take it. It's basically on our way to Austin. We're going to Austin in March, South by Southwest. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm showing up to the show, so I'm just letting you know.
Awesome.
I'll be at the show.
Right on. We'll have Nicole come too. She better come through.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's in.
I have not seen Nicole in probably 6 or 7 years because they moved to Nashville.
Yeah, they moved to Nashville. Well, maybe she'll have to come out for this one. No.
That's what I told her. I said, get out of here.
Get out to Phoenix.
Get out to Phoenix. Come visit your family, and then we can go to a show. Absolutely.
Yes. So we're playing. I don't even know what the club is, honestly. Like I've never been there.
I looked it up. It wasn't too, it was, I'm excited. What's really cool is that this is, I've never seen one of our guests play. So it'll be really fun to see, like, go to a show and go, like, I interviewed that dude and people are like, oh, that's really cool. Now let me go listen to music now.
Yeah. They're like,
I know that guy. Look, I'm name dropping right now. I know that bassist right there. I know him. There. Hey.
We were on a thing. It wasn't a Zoom. It was an actual interview. It wasn't some sort of corporate meeting.
Yeah.
See, that's me.
I know him.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. Hopefully it'll be a fun little thing. I think it's an outdoor stage or something too.
Yeah. I think so. I think, I'm excited to see. any music after, like, the first concert that I went to was that GNR concert that just came out. What?
Oh wow.
Last
Oh,
3
yeah.
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
How
was
was
like,
that?
you know what? It was really good. So nostalgia is always there for me. The reason why I have a Les Paul is because of Slash. The
Okay.
reason why I really, I'm that
Yeah.
guy. I'm that guy, that Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses fanatic, that when Guns N' Roses came out in my 9th grade year, I was like crazy. I wanted to be Slash, that was what I wanted to be in 9th grade. So, so it was really cool. I thought that Mammoth, which was Eddie Van Halen's son,
Right.
Yeah.
he did a Wolfgang. Super good band. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. And of course, I was on the fence of whether Axl was going to be like, is he on? What is this? Because I saw Van Halen when Eddie came back for that one tour.
Okay.
And I had friends that said that was the worst tour I've ever seen. I can't.
Is this when David Lee Roth?
David had come back. Yeah, David had come back.
Yeah.
So when David Lee Roth came back and did that one like tour, and he kind of like canceled like half the shows or whatever, I got to see the one here in Phoenix, and he actually played with like Kool and the Gang, which was bizarre. But
yeah, cool. I'll
bizarre.
It was fun. Cool in the Gang.
Yeah, so Kool and the Gang and Eddie and Van Halen showed up and played a gig together, and then, but my friend said it was horrible. Now we went to the Guns N' Roses concert, and they all said that was amazing. Still have it, and Axl Rose still had his up until the very end song. I mean, they played for 2.5 hours, so
that's a lot, man. I mean,
Wow.
it was a long. I mean, if you think of they have like. I mean, they have such a just like you. I mean, you've been playing since you've been in a band since what, 94, 92, 94?
Yeah, like roughly 90. I've been playing in rock bands since I was 15.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm 27 now.
Yeah, that's right. He's 27,
so
and he's 27.
12 years, and in these 12 years, I've compressed 30 years of music in 12 years. It's the magic of cryptocurrency.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm an NFT. I am an NFT. Anyway, the magic of crypto and NFT. Yeah, you get to compress everything. And sorry, man, go ahead. You had a question.
No, I love it. So I read this blip on Soil. And so I want to hear a little bit about the blip on Soil. You guys played one show, and then you and another bandmate decided this isn't for us, or
no, that's not the truth. And actually, I think that still might be on Systems Wiki.
It is.
I asked them to change it. I asked their management to change it. I was like, dude, that's so bullshit. That's not the truth. And he was like, whatever. Like, that's what we put. Like, just roll with it, okay? I was like, but it's not true. It makes me sound like one of those idiots that didn't know that this band was going to be something. I was actually the exact opposite. I knew the band was going to be amazing. I actually was one of their biggest, like, we started working together, and the way Soil happened is me and Darren started a band with who became the original drummer for System of a Down, named Andy, and now the singer of Apex, whatever. The three of us and my brother had a band called, what the fuck do we call it? Snowblind. We called it Snowblind. And we were hoping that Black Sabbath would sue us. Like, we're going to call it a because we love Black Sabbath.
I love Sabbath too. Yeah.
And they were getting inducted at the Walk of Fame at Guitar Center in Hollywood. And we printed up these orange fucking flyers back in the day. This is like it's probably like 1989 or 90. We were little punks, and we printed up these orange flyers that said like Snowblind live tonight, and it was kind of like fuck you, Black Sabbath. Like, we took one of your song names, it's our band name now. Like, we thought, and we went and passed it out, and we were like, they're gonna see it and they're gonna get angry and they're gonna sue us and we're gonna get nothing happened. We were just sitting around like, guys, no one's suing us, no one cares, fuck, so that was the band I was in with.
It's orange and it stands out.
Yeah, we're like, it's orange and it's black letters. It's like,
to
yeah,
us.
they're gonna see it, you know. So, long story short, so me and Darren were like, working on stuff together, but we didn't get along with our drummer, and no one ever has gotten along with this fucking guy. So we got rid of him. But at the same time, I was playing in a band with Serge, and like the older guys band with a real like studio. And I would sneak my guys into that room and we would rehearse because I was like, yeah, the guys are going to be there on the weekend, guys. Let's go. I was literally 15 years old at the time. And slowly but surely, me, Serge, and Darren started hanging out. And we started kind of like going, oh, imagine like if we infused Armenian music with some of our kind of like rock that we love or metal or whatever. And slowly that started happening. And yeah, we found the drummer. We went to drummers, and like we literally like rehearsed for probably 2 years. I don't know what it was, 18, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years. And we played one show. And the first show we played, Darren fell off the stage. Like first song. I kid you not. Like we go into the song, and I think it's actually a riff they ended up using for their first System record. It's like some shit. And all of a sudden I'm playing the bass, and all I hear is bass. I'm like, oh shit, where's the guitar? Where's the guitar? Look over, Darren has fallen off stage. It was a place called Fay Dodo here in LA that there was a hole in the stage, but it was covered with a rug. So I guess he like stepped in and then fucking took a fucking spill. But yeah, after that show, the drummer wasn't really feeling it. But I still thought like this band's gotta, like, this is gonna be huge. This thing's gonna fucking blow up. But ultimately, I didn't think I was the right bass player for it. You know, me and Darren would kind of butt heads sometimes. I was too muso. I was like listening to Frank Zappa all the fucking time, you know, and he was just listening to Slayer, and he would say, listen to Slayer. I'm like, I love Slayer. I'll listen to Slayer, but I'm going to go listen to Zappa too, you know, like, and come up with these like, counter melodies and this and that. And it just didn't feel right, you know. And Shava was our manager. The bass player was our manager. But he played guitar at the time. And I was like, yo, dude, I think you got to, kind of come in here, and this is going to be the thing, And, when you have a vibe, you feel it. You're like, I don't think I'm the best person for this. And I need to maybe do something else, So, but yeah. I didn't think like this is bullshit and like, screw you guys, I'm out.
I knew there was more to the story.
Yeah. No, I love them. I mean, go ahead, sir.
My sister Nicole doesn't hang out with bums, so I was like, "There's no way that this guy just like f you guys, I'm out of here, but I'm still friends with you at the same time."
No,
I knew that wasn't.
I mean, if you really want to get to the very very like bottom of it, there was a moment when they were like, "We don't think you're right for this either. Like, we don't think you're right for this," and it was this big like kick to the ego. But I understood. I was like, "These guys are right," and I'm like, you need someone that literally will play every guitar line on the bass, or just, kind of follow the dude, and I was like, that's not me. I know that's not me. I can't do that. And I was like, wait a minute.
It's cool that you saw that too, instead of like waiting like years on down the road and you're like, I don't want to do this no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, rather than kind of see that in the beginning and be like, hey guys, I'm not, I don't feel like I'm good for the part, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean, you gotta, you gotta be real with the shit. And it was like, I just felt like Shava would have been a great fit. I literally called him and said, I got a gig for you. He's like, yeah, I'm the manager. I'm like, no, you're gonna play bass. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I think you should play bass, dude. And and the rest is, yeah. So sure.
I think that's but at least you realize that. Now, what I'm going to say this. I love Eastern modes, and I'm going to say that that's what I really like, because that Armenian, people don't understand when they say, hey, what is this ethnic? And they said ethnic. I was like, what does that even mean? Right. Yeah, you're using Eastern. Yeah, it's kind of a silly term on. You're using some historical Armenian music, which is more. There's a different scale that comes from the East that people don't play in the West as often, and you're able to blend that into rock, which is totally cool. And I think that's where people, I hated seeing the word ethnic when I was reading that. It was like Wikipedia. I was like, that's stupid. But you're blending that Eastern. Now, what made you think, because that's really your heritage, and we kind of talked about that. That's where that's your grandpa's playing, your grandpa's playing this type of music. But what made you think, you know what, I could throw this into a bass line, and then I'm going to throw it into some metal, what was...
Well, I'll tell you this much. So a lot of those scales, beyond scales, the melodies, right? Just the instinctive melodies, the organic vibe of that melody is very passionate. It's very passionate. It has like rebel spirit to it. It has renegade spirit to it. It has like fuck you. It has all this kind of thing, just in that melody, alone. And so does rock music. I mean, the spirit of rock music is like rebel. That's, and that's one thing I'm missing in like modern music in total, like even rock music. I mean, Foo Fighters have become like the flagship rock band. It's like, bro, you're dad rock. There's nothing rebellious about this. This is not rock anymore, or punk rock. Like, to me, just rock in general is the music of like rebellion. And I think people that come from that side of the world, Armenians especially, we do have kind of, a rebellious, a renegade kind of energy in the culture. We also have kind of like a resilient kind of energy. I mean, these are people that were surrounded by, we are the first Christian nation surrounded by all Muslim nations and just getting shit on for thousands of years up until, the last century, where 1.5 million Armenians were, killed in death marches and this and that, the first genocide of the 20th century before the Holocaust, all this stuff. So I think it's that feeling of like, hey man, like, this kind of, these chords or these like scales have that energy, and rock music has that energy. And as much as I love pentatonic scales and the blues and all that stuff, because it's such good feeling, there's a moment that it's like I've heard it over and over and over again. Like, can we do something? And that's where I think it was just more of a natural kind of like, let's fuck with it. Instead of playing a pentatonic, I'm going to play a half scale over here. Instead of going to the fifth, I think I'm going to go to the minor third, and kind of, to put it in musical terms, you know what I mean? And just like, oh, whoa, when I went to the minor third, it had, in metal, you would say it sounds more evil. Like, it sounds evil, but it sounds cool, and it sounds more like fuck you or something. It's like, let's try that, so that's what that is.
Okay.
And that's really cool. And so I really appreciate that, because
thank you, man.
But that's what artistic individuals do, is being able to push the limits. And that's what rock has always been about, pushing the limits of music and adding some new characteristics. Because if you think about, I mean, rock really came from, jazz and blues. Right. And then you're adding an Eastern blend to it that is what rock is about. It's now become like a conglomerate of different types of music, and we call it rock.
A hybrid.
It is a hybrid, and absolutely, that's what I really enjoyed. The first, there was, I can't remember which song, which just had the real great bass line at the beginning of the new Antenna at the end. You have one
Animal.
Yeah,
Animal?
Yep. Yeah. Great bass line at the beginning. Very great bass line. And then I was listening to some of your just the kind of stuff that we had for when we were trying to advertise. I was like, do you hear that bass line? That guy just has
that's
it.
That's what I had to
thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, great bass lines, great. And what it takes, but to get to that level, people don't understand, to be able to be a standout like Flea, yourself, some of those, Parliament Funkadelic, you think about those. You even have ska, you had a little bit of ska in that one of those songs that I was intended.
Maybe.
Kind of Scotch reggae.
I'm kind of like, maybe, but like, I'm so like, sometimes I'm oblivious to genres. I'm just
kind of play just to play.
Like that's like, oh, feels great, or does it get the point across of the lyric of the story that we intended? I think we lost.
Right.
Are we, Andy? You there?
I'm here. Are you guys still here?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So yeah, I mean, that's cool. If you heard that, that's amazing. I was gonna say, you want to hear a quick little funny Flea story?
Let's hear it.
All right. Yeah. So it's 2004 at the Troubadour. Serge and Tom Morello were doing a thing called the Axis of Justice shows, and they would basically, it was kind of a nonprofit organization that they had a radio show on KPFK, which is kind of like a little lefty, progressive radio station, and they had a show on there, and they wanted to do these fundraisers where we would be live shows, and they asked Apex Theory, and this is Apex Theory 3-piece because we changed from 4-piece to 3-piece, blah blah blah, and they said, hey, at the end of the night, there's gonna be this really great jam. It's gonna be, Serge, Tom Morello, Wayne Kramer from MC5. I don't know if you guys know MC5, Motor City 5. Probably one of the original punk bands, like from the 60s, like R&B and punk mixed together, Detroit protest band. And John was going to play drums, someone else. And they said, Flea and you are going to like switch off on bass. I was like, oh, like, how crazy is that? Like, he's literally one of my bass idols. Like, the guy's fucking amazing,
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, this is going to be so amazing. And we get to play like the new Apex stuff we were working on. And we got together with Tom and Serge and whatever, and we jammed out some of these things that we were going to play at the end of the night. So I kind of was familiar, even with whatever Flea was going to play, I was familiar with. But like he was going to play it, and that was the exciting moment of the night. It was like, we're going to get our set done. Then System did like a few songs, like Surprise, and then after that it was going to be Tom and whatever, this whole like whatever kind of all-star whatever jam. And then I get off stage, and Morello pulls me aside. I guess he had never seen us live in that. And he's like, that was fucking awesome. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, dude. Like, whatever. It's a big deal. And then Flea pulls me aside and he goes, hey, I need you to cover for me tonight. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, dude. He's like, my little girl's not feeling well. And he lived like up in Malibu. And this is like in West Hollywood. So it's like an hour drive. He's like, I gotta go, man. I gotta go. I need you to fill in. I was like, yeah, but I want to see you play. I'm like, and I can't fill in for you. Like, what are you, crazy? Like, fuck, like, pressure's on. I'm gonna fill in for fucking Flea now. Like, fuck. And but did it, whatever, did it, and it was great. It was a great fucking time, and he was so awesome. Fucking cool. Yeah, and I was like, I love the fact that he cared about like his little kid. Was like, dude, my kid's sick. I came, but I gotta go back. I'm sorry, like she's not feeling well. So it's like, you be a good daddy, man. That's awesome. I'll take care of it. I'll hold down the bass, bro. So
that's right.
Yeah. Hold the bass down.
Yeah. Sorry, no blowing hookers in that story. Just more family and heartwarming. We have blowing hooker stories too. Don't worry.
That's awesome though. What a really cool.
Gosh, couldn't hear that.
So that is so cool. So we're about ready out of time. So we do a top 5 where I ask 4 questions, usually music related. Mm-hmm. And he always does the drop the mic last question. So I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions so that you can. So number 5, because I am shopping for my son, favorite bass brand.
I mean, you can't go wrong with a Fender P bass, but you could even get a Fender Squire. Get a cheapy Fender Squire, have a maple neck on it. You could change the electronics later, Yep. And, but, something like, yeah, you can't go wrong with Fender,
Cool. What is your favorite city to play in?
That's a good question. There's a few. Austin, honestly, is like probably one of my favorites.
And what venue? And what venue in Austin?
Stubbs. Stubbs is fucking great. The outdoor stage, the indoor stage. There's a vibe. There's just a fucking vibe. I don't know what it is.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's cool. And you guys are gonna go play South and Southwest, so that's cool.
Yeah.
South by Southwest. So number 3, what is your favorite amp brand for basses?
It used to be Ampeg when they were made in St. Louis. Right now, Ashdown, hands down. Ashdown, UK, great fucking, solid.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Number 2, favorite I would say I'm always thinking about what scales, but what is your favorite chord progression? But you wouldn't say chord progression, your bass line progression.
I mean, there's chords in there.
Yeah, right.
You mean like of a popular song?
No, when you're playing, when you're creating, what is it your like favorite chord pattern that you're like, hey, I'm gonna play, this is the chord pattern. You kind of mentioned 1/5 minor third. What is some another couple of those that maybe people are gonna be like, hey, this will maybe influence some other folks about trying some new different non-standard 1/5/4 chord patterns.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I don't know about chord progressions, but I know about like certain rhythms. Like I like playing in 7/4, which is basically 7/8 with 4/4 against it, which kind of is like maybe like Kashmir da 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 da. So that the turnaround is like in 7, but it's a 7/4, I think. I think it is something like that, or just that. Those are some things I love, or like maybe the bass line is playing in 3/4 and the drummer's playing in 4/4 against it, And there's some Apex Series songs like that. I'm more rhythmically inclined in that way to use things like that because chord progressions they vary so much. You could, it has to do with the melody. I'm more about like the vocal melody. What's the vocal melody going to do, and then how's the progression, the harmony going to support that, what I mean? So that's a tough one, but more rhythmic, polyrhythms and stuff. Yeah.
No, I totally love it, man. Totally love it. Great answer. And so that gives us the last question of the night. James, what do you got?
Let's go. Alrighty. So being that you are a seasoned musician, like you've been through a lot of stuff. Yeah. So like I said, you've been playing
up and down.
You were young to now even. To somebody that say comes across this video and was like, oh my God, they interviewed this guy. What are some, like, say they're wanting to get into music or kind of learn music aspects or whatever, what can be like some words of wisdom for somebody wanting to kind of get into the music world?
Right. Like music business or just playing music?
Yeah, both. I guess you could say both.
I mean, playing music, just do it if you love it. There's no, especially in the business side of things, there's no promises. There's nothing. There's just right now. If you love a song and you want to just find a way to play it and musically it's doing something for you, just, get a cheap instrument. Don't buy an expensive instrument. Get a cheap instrument. Teach yourself how to play it. Ask a friend. Hire a teacher for 2-3 days to show you some things, and then focus on it. Make it your meditation. Love it. Get into it. That's it. Like there's nothing. And if you're a young kid that wants to follow that dream, like just play with people you admire, who maybe have mutual admiration for you, and like you're winning in that moment. Every rehearsal feels like it's the best thing you guys could do. So it's like do it from a place of love, I guess.
There you go.
I know. Yeah. Boom. Love.
Nice.
Drop the mic moment right there. Yeah. Drop the mic moment.
I was kind of like asking, like, especially somebody with your experience, you've seen it all, you've done a lot. So kind of having somebody from that standpoint, getting kind of words like that. So yeah, there you go.
Words of wisdom, everybody. Love is still the biggest influential thing of music in life. Yeah. So absolutely love it. Cool, awesome. Man. David,
right, thank
you, buddy. Thank you for coming on in. We totally appreciate it. Keep everything going, man. We'll be seeing you in March. So
March 10th, yeah.
Look out for a nerd watch out for an IT nerd who's going to come out. Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead, James.
I was gonna, you say you're more than welcome to message us when you and Serge get together.
I'll message you guys on Friday from their show. Guys, just do a little thing.
Cool. Thank you very much, David.
Awesome,
and you know what? Amazing music, and I can't wait to see you live in living color. It'll be really cool, and keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Appreciate this.
Take care. See you.
Be good. Bye-bye.
See you.
See you.
And that is the end of our show. Come check us out next week, where we have, I don't know who we have. Who do we have?
We have Macari. It's a band.
That's what
One of the coworkers, one of the guys I work with, is in the band called Macari.
And I am
So,
seeing them
advertising now.
in 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. I'm seeing
Yeah,
them. They're
they'll
coming
keep
into
coming.
Mesa, Arizona, and I can't wait
There
to
you
see
go.
them. So very cool. Yeah.
So stay tuned
So
for that.
cool. Well, thank you, everybody. And go check us out. Go subscribe. Click all those buttons and stay tasty.
Stay tasty.